Hey, and welcome to I Guess, the show where I hate everything until someone convinces me otherwise. I'm Lex the Seal Price, and I can have nice things. Short, stubby little fingers. With us today is the beautiful and hilarious Ian Brodsky.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm happy to have you here.
I'm so excited to be here. I was just listening to a few episodes to prep, and I'm a fan. I'm subscribed and everything.
Ooh, we love that. But how are you wrong?
I'm wrong because I think Fiona Apple is the single greatest singer-songwriter of our time.
Okay. I like Fiona Apple.
Okay.
I feel like I almost fell into the camp growing up in that time. Like, obviously, Alanis Morissette was around the same time.
Right.
And I also had an affinity for the song Bitch.
Ooh.
Yeah, I have a diary from when I was like 9 years old, and I wrote that my favorite song was Bitch.
You're correct, though.
Yeah, but then I was like, it wasn't until I was older, I was like, oh, this was by someone random who most of us couldn't name.
Right.
But it still felt in that same vein.
Right.
And I came to Fiona Apple a lot later in life, mostly doing a cabaret show.
Really?
Yeah, well, I did a cabaret show for, we had a year residency at the Pit, and we also did a few shows in like smaller venues as well. And the residency was for like a year. And so we did 9 new songs every month.
Wow.
That had to be redone. So we went through a lot.
I bet.
So Fiona Apple came up a lot as like a possibility because we were called the Bitches. And
Yeah.
so it like fit in that theme, but I don't think we ever did a Fiona Apple song.
It's fascinating. And it's so funny you mentioned Bitch because for some reason that song has been stuck in my head for the past 3 months.
Oh, well, this has just been manifesting then.
Right.
As a previous guest tried to convince me all about it. I guess it happens. Yeah.
Yeah. Good for Meredith Brooks. I don't know where she is now, but
No idea.
I also came onto Fiona's Apple. Fiona's Apple Music.
I love Fiona's Apple Music.
Might as well be.
I bet that was more equitable.
I mean, when you look at my Apple Music replay, it's definitely Fiona Apple. Fiona Music Apple. Fiona Apple Music.
Fiona's Apple.
Fiona's Apple Music.
We got there.
We got there. So I found her music, like, I'd grown up a little bit with it. Like, I'd known Criminal. I had known a bit from When the Pawn. But during lockdown and COVID, when she released Fetch the Bolt Cutters, yes, everyone was talking about how it's the perfect album for being locked inside and wanting to break free, because that's very much what that album is about.
Right.
But also, I was listening to that and I'm like, oh no, there is a righteous anger in here that I resonate with. And so then I really did a deep dive into her music, and she has 5 albums. They're all incredible. And as you go through her catalog, you just feel I guess in my case, it's like, it speaks to like the 13, 14, 15 high school version of me that did not know how to express the anger and anxiety I was feeling. And then 10, 15 years later, I'm like, oh no, that's it. And so whenever I am having a less than perfect day, I know that there is either a song, an album, or I can just put that music on shuffle. And I am like, I at least feel seen. I feel related to.
I was going to say, and I say this with love.
Yeah.
Do you maybe resonate with Fiona Apple as a petite singer-songwriter yourself?
That is so kind of you to say. I'm sure that's part of it.
Just like too much anger and rage to hold in such a
in such a moderately sized body.
Yeah.
You know, when you put it that way, I'm sure that's plenty of it. Man, you kind of blew my mind there.
Oh my, I'm teaching you something today?
I know, right? It definitely was an influence on my first album. I now have 2 albums out, and I think there is a bit of pounding that piano that she does that I definitely latched onto.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, there's a really cool simmering in her work where it's like not that it's bubbling under the surface, but it's kind of drawing you in that you don't exactly know what's going to come next and you have to keep watching, or in this case listening.
Yeah. No, I think we're around the same age. I think you're a little younger than me, but how aware of the like angry girl music were you growing up?
A little bit. I knew that it was in the periphery, but because I'm such a theater kid,
right,
so much of the music I actually listened to growing up, when I probably could have been listening to the angry girl pop, was classical music and show tunes.
I have no idea what that's like. None at all.
It's it's a thing.
I mean,
It's a thing.
perhaps.
Yeah, Les Mis is pretty angry at some points.
In French.
Exactly.
In
we've
English,
always said that.
Yeah, that's what I've always said on every podcast. The French are angry
mad.
and mean.
Yeah. And if you think about it, everyone in that show plays the title character.
They sure do.
They sure do.
You've blown my mind.
Another show where everyone plays the title character, Cats.
Well, it's been such a lovely time.
Thank you so much for having me. I'll see myself out.
So, you said you came to Fiona Apple later in life. When are we talking?
2020. So I was
just like really pandemic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like that's when I really did the deep dive. So
while you weren't playing Animal Crossing, you were listening to Fiona Apple.
Well, I was playing The Sims, but yeah.
Oh, same thing.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I was listening to a lot of Fiona Apple. I was very much catching up on her stuff, and I was very much getting the context of the albums from like the time that they came out and finding those places in myself. For example, Extraordinary Machine came out when I was like in early high school, late middle school, and listening to that album, I can see myself as an othered 13-year-old boy really resonating with like these pep talks to yourself, because a lot of her music is indeed like it's full of righteous anger, and she's known as like one of the angry girl rockers, but so much of her music is actually her lifting herself up, because who else will if not yourself? So that's why you have songs like Extraordinary Machine. You have songs, I mean, specifically on that album, you have like The Waltz. And then you get into some of her like weirder stuff on The Idler Wheel, and it gets kind of like sassy and a little feisty. And
are you finding it then? It's almost like a time machine for you specifically.
In a way, I guess like it was kind of healing to find that stuff. Yeah, like even in retrospect, knowing after the fact, I guess that was there. Like it was cool. I definitely felt related to, despite it being what I'm trying to do math in my head, and that's hard. But like,
well, we're theater people. We
exactly.
I've got gay on top of it.
Yeah,
and I feel like I say this story every single time. I recently discovered I have aphantasia, which means when I close my eyes, I only see blackness. I can't like picture an apple, right? I have a very good imagination, but I cannot actually visually see. But the reason I bring this up is because that apparently means you have a harder time doing mental math.
Really?
Yes.
Then I don't know what my excuse is.
Okay, well, we'll do this experiment.
Okay.
Close your eyes.
Yeah.
Think of an apple.
Mm-hmm.
What do you see?
I see a red apple. It's a little shiny. In this case, it's like the full round thing unbitten. It has a little stem coming out and towards the right.
Yeah, I don't know what your excuse is, because it's certainly not that.
Well, that's...
But yeah, I realized I memorized all math.
Oh, sure.
I didn't actually do math.
As someone who's bad at math, I'm like, no, good for you. That's great. Like, I wish I could have done that.
So, you were putting yourself in this time machine.
Yeah, so I was putting myself in this time machine, and I was just realizing that I guess this is going to sound so freaking cheesy to say, but there are other people that understood how I felt throughout like the harder parts of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And granted, like if you go into Fiona Apple's personal history, it's pretty rough.
It's rough.
It's rough, especially like growing up and being attacked, and then being thrust into this music industry where, I mean, we saw it in different ways with like Britney. You kind of saw it with Taylor Swift. Like you definitely saw it with someone like a Kate Bush, but the way Fiona Apple handled it was just so different.
Yeah, I mean, who knew that women in this world, and especially the music industry, get treated so piss poorly?
Wow. What a revelation.
What a revelation. I mean, yeah, just even the grouping of all those women, Fiona Apple, Alanis Morissette, even Jewel kind of got this a little bit.
Oh,
of,
100%.
Like, angry girl. And it was like infantilizing and minimizing.
And no matter what they did, it was just a constant barrage of like, see, I told you, she's angry. Look at that right there. See how angry she is. And then it's interesting that unlike, and I'm not doing this to compare them, but I just sort of see different ways that the different women in music responded to that. You see like a Kate Bush and a Fiona Apple sort of retreat, and at the same time, they're really doing what they want, because they go through that shit, and then Fiona releases something like When the Pawn, and then Extraordinary Machine, what she did on her own terms, despite what her label told her that she had to do, and despite a lot of, not that it was shelved, but a lot of like ultimatums from the record company. And she really just said, fuck that, I'm going to do the label on my own terms, or I'm not going to do it. And then the influence that she was able to have a whole organization of people mail crates of apples to Sony Entertainment.
Oh, this is like scratching a memory for me.
Yeah, the Free Fiona movement, which like this is before.
Was that one of the first ones?
Yeah.
Because obviously the famous ones are like light bulbs for Friday Night Lights, I think.
Right.
And then there was like dust for something else, but I feel like that was maybe ill thought because Anthrax. But
that's a good point.
But yeah, so that if that was that time, probably if not was one of the earliest kind of campaigns to do that.
Yeah. And not that she made that happen, but it was in part because she said, I don't like where this album is going, and so I'm just not going to do it. And she walked away, and then the public was like, no, we want to hear what she has. Sony, get your shit together. And so then they got back to her and they were like, okay, you can do whatever you want. And so that's how we got that album. And then from there, she just did her own thing. And I know it resonates with a lot of like independent singer-songwriters and a lot of independent artists, but like that's really, I feel like, the best way to get your stuff out there is to be true to yourself.
Authentically yourself.
Yeah. And I know like, I feel like we're in a day and age where everything is like, be authentic, right? Go on TikTok and be authentic.
Right. Authenticity is its own performance.
Right.
Now.
And to me, like, Fiona Apple's never done that because she's just never had the time or patience for it.
Yeah, that I will say does feel accurate.
Right?
Like zero patience. Very thin patience. And as someone with thick thighs and thin patience, I appreciate that.
I'll drink to that.
What are your favorite Fiona Apple moments? And it doesn't even just have to be music, because it seems like you're also very into Fiona Apple as almost like a concept.
Yeah, I think so. I definitely got into, because when I'm really into an artist, I do the research. I don't hold it against anyone who doesn't. I'm not that kind of fan, but no, I definitely love diving in and learning all about that story of how Extraordinary Machine was. She walked away from it, and then that whole movement happened. I love how instead of capitalizing on something like her first single, Criminal, it got a renaissance because of the movie Hustlers with Jennifer Lopez. And instead of capitalizing on it, she just gave the money to like women's violence charities. When she won 2 Grammys for Fetch the Bolt Cutters, and the way she found out was her housemate woke her up from a nap, and she was like, "Oh, is that it?" And her housemate was like, "Yeah," and she was like, "Okay," and then went back to sleep.
Yeah,
like that's baller. And I guess like from a moment, and this is sort of like a personal one, hearing Extraordinary Machine, the song, for the first time, that was a revelation, as well as hearing Fetch the Bolt Cutters for the first time, the whole album. Because, yeah, we were in lockdown, but for me, it wasn't even a matter of, oh, this is so right now. This is, I feel this in my soul. Like, I hear her talking about people saying she's pissed off, funny, and warm. I hear her talking about people saying you have potential. And also on top of that, I hear all of the percussion, and I just hear the cacophony of sounds that she puts on this album. And I'm someone who, despite not playing drums, very much has a rhythmical mind and heart, and like I gravitate towards like
your dance background probably.
That's
puts
true.
That in a little
that
bit.
helps too. Yeah. So understanding beat and like syncopation and like really where rhythm is, like hearing that on that is just mind blowing for me. And I'm trying to think of like other cultural moments because of course you have like the "this world is bullshit" moment.
Sure,
that's classic, but I think a lot more about, she used to do Q&As on YouTube. People would like write into a Tumblr page and her housemate would just hand her questions and she would just answer them.
Pre-Reddit AMAs, I'm assuming.
Pre-Reddit AMAs, yeah.
She does seem to, from what you're saying and from like the little bit I know, it seems like she has a good balance with fans in the sense of accessibility, but also not parasocial,
right?
As opposed to Amanda Palmer from the Dresden Dolls, who
see, I know nothing about that.
She was married to Neil Gaiman.
Oh,
and we don't need to go onto this podcast, but she had like one of the people that very credibly accused him. She like hired her as her nanny and was a fan, and she's like constantly, she does like some sort of Patreon type thing where you gain access to her by giving her. It's just messy.
That's weird.
Messy.
Yeah.
And in some ways, you could be like, oh, they're this. From an outside perspective, you could be like, oh, Fiona Apple, Amanda Palmer, very similar people, right?
Sure.
But it really shows how much that like line in the sand is like necessary.
Oh yeah. And like that she definitely developed that callous, for lack of a better term,
Right.
because of the way that this world and this industry
Yeah.
treats women. But at the same time, out of it, like she's just no bullshit about it. Like she's
Yeah.
flat out just like, I don't want to tour. She's like, I
Not
don't want
for
to go
me.
to I don't want to go to the Grammys.
I will make music when I want to make music.
Right.
I wonder too, you were talking about how it really spoke to your soul in the pandemic, but not for necessarily lockdown reasons. But I wonder, because I felt this way, and I think other artists have felt this way, of like just even producing art at a time where it feels like it's impossible to produce art was probably resonant.
Oh, 100%. I know for me, like, I had all these plans for 2020, and they all got canceled.
Yep. I'm sure we all, to our
Right,
therapists, were like, "This is our year."
And and like kind of tying everything together, I very much took everything I was learning in therapy about myself and like all the healing I was doing, and channeling that into what became my first album, while deep diving into Fiona Apple, who's all about growing up and dealing with your trauma. And so
you were just like doing the work and also your homework that you never turned in, but you found in a box
10-15 years later. Yeah, 100%. Thank you. Like this has like been therapy in a way. So thank you for that.
You know what? I have always said that sometimes what the world needs to heal is very stupid content.
Oh, 100%.
And if I can bring that to the masses and the public, I've done my job.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah. It's hard being this ridiculous, but someone's got to do it.
Good for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I feel like this is not even like, not that this is not a hot take, but I feel like I come to this podcast saying this stuff, and there will be a whole bunch of people who already know me and will be like, Ian, shut up about Fiona Apple.
No, that's what this podcast is for. I want you to bring things that your friends are sick and tired of hearing about, because now you get to put it out online.
Yeah.
Well produced, if I do say
produced,
so myself.
100%. Oh, agreed. Fully agreed.
And that's what I want. I want your little obsession that you can't stop talking about.
Yeah.
People are like, oh no, do they have a problem? They won't stop talking to me about this. I just met them at this party.
Oh yeah, I mean, and I can go on a whole thing about how like you have someone like, well, you start with Woody Guthrie because that's the father of folk music, and then that definitely fosters a Joni Mitchell, and then Joni Mitchell is her own revolution, and then from Joni Mitchell you get the Kate Bush, you get the Fiona Apple.
So you've really...
my internal monologue doesn't shut up.
Is there someone you think recently kind of takes up the Fiona Apple mantle a little bit?
I would love to have this discussion because I don't know if I have a definitive answer. Okay. I feel like there is maybe like St. Vincent has a bit of that energy, but I also think she's a bit of her own thing.
Sure. I think Phoebe Bridgers kind of goes into that vein a little bit, maybe.
She's definitely a contender, I think.
A little chiller.
Yeah. But because I feel like there's a millennial question mark. Maybe it's Hayley Williams, maybe it's Phoebe Bridgers.
We'll say, because Fiona Apple is very Gen X.
Yes.
There is like that stamp on there.
Oh, yeah.
And so finding the millennial version of her is, I think, would be softer.
Right?
Slightly.
So like that could definitely be an argument for Phoebe Bridgers.
Yeah.
And then I feel like we see our Gen Z version potentially in Olivia Rodrigo, but I know she's a bit more from the Alanis Morissette vein.
Yeah, I'd probably put her more in that vein.
Yeah.
So Alanis was always more pop.
Right.
There was definitely a rock to it, but like Fiona Apple was holding the singer-songwriter piano.
Like she was the alt in alt rock. Yes. And Alanis was the pop and pop rock in a way, which like great, like space for both of them.
Yeah. I remember a lot too, at the time, there was a lot of gross commentary around her body.
That's right.
Because that we were also kind of contending with the like Kate Moss heroin chic
Yep.
aesthetic.
Yeah.
for lack of a better word. And I feel like she got caught up in that. And she was just, it was both like leering and sexualized and
Right.
judgmental. Because I feel like I don't remember there actually being any sort of eating disorder around Fiona Apple. It
Right.
just people assumed because she was so petite.
Right. Because she's just always been so thin.
Yeah.
Like, you look at her now, she's
The
super
same.
thin. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it definitely didn't help any of like the mental and like societal things that were already going on with her.
Right.
And it definitely I'm sure that that's part of what contributes to her like going like being a recluse in ways.
Reclusiveness, yeah.
Reclusiveness. Yeah. And I don't I almost hesitate to bring it up, but I feel like Taylor Swift gets this criticism and she sort of continues to push forward like if from an image perspective.
Right.
Whereas Fiona Apple was like, "Oh, this is how you're going to treat me. Well, I'm going to go over there and do
Yeah, just like walk away, middle
fingers
fingers
up." Yeah. Telling boy bye, of course.
telling those people to like suck her dick.
Yeah.
Is like very her vibe.
Right. And yeah, so I've always found that interesting of how different artists, specifically women,
Respond
to that because I know it's like something that I could never I would never go through that. Like,
sure. It's even when you get degrees closer to it, you will never. Like, I'm sure,
right.
Being shorter, being in musical theater,
yeah,
like there are like things that could like add up.
Yeah.
Doing dance, I'm not equating it, but what I'm saying is like you face your own struggles.
Sure.
And then for someone like me, gay or whatever, yeah, we will get shit, but I'm sorry, you're not going to get the same amount of shit as a woman in the public eye.
Right. Exactly.
So,
and look, there are always going to be productions of Newsies, and I can dance and I can sing tenor.
Oh, but unfortunately, that show has a character named Crutchy that we can't change.
Great question.
We've had. I don't know if you listened to our previous episode about the utter glory of Morrissey Hall.
Not yet.
Oh, about a one performance musical.
Okay.
On Broadway. But y'all, what are we doing?
What are we doing?
Thoroughly Modern Millie was in 2003, 2004. And
early.
We were still dealing with white slavery in that.
Oh, yeah.
Newsies. We got a person named Crutchy.
Yeah.
Any production of Once on This Island.
But did you see the revival, though?
Yes, it was great.
It was so good.
But Michael Arden is a great director.
He's a great director.
And it was cast really well. And I will always see Lea Salong in everything.
Oh, 100%.
And Alex Newell has an amazing voice.
Yeah.
But that show is terrible and we need to stop doing it.
Agree to disagree. I know this is a podcast about me being wrong. So,
well, as we said, my opinion is always right.
That's true.
No, but I just I can't. We can't.
I know.
Anyway,
I know. Like we're going into a different obsession.
It's fine.
Well, I mean, okay, we can tie it all back then.
Please.
Did you see Jagged Little Pill?
Let me tell you my experiences.
Please. I'm so intrigued.
I'm never usually a fan of a jukebox musical, but I have been surprised. I will still stand by that Head Over Heels was a great show and didn't get the flowers it should have because I think people were stupid.
That's what I hear.
Jagged Little Pill, I was like, okay, it's not The Life of Alanis Morissette. Perfect start, right?
Yeah.
Those are the worst.
Yeah.
Then I went and saw it, and I was like, oh no. It was directed by Diane Paulus, right?
Yeah.
I think Diane Paulus directs revivals fantastically.
I mean, yeah.
I think Diane Paulus has trouble directing new work.
Okay.
And Jagged Little Pill didn't dissuade me from that opinion. It felt like it was written by people who were too old to address the current situation that the show was trying to address. In some ways, have you seen Anne Juliet?
Not yet, and I actually want to.
Get a cheap ticket.
Sure.
That show had a similar issue where it was like, this gender nonconforming person,
right?
They're basically a girl. And it was like, is that what you were gonna... Okay.
Wait, do they sing I'm not a girl, not yet a woman?
Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay.
And their name is May. So
Oh.
it's gonna be
May.
May. And then they have a male character and that character sing I Kissed a Boy and I Liked It. But it's like, why did you change that one, but
Right.
not change other ones? Anyways, back to Jagged Little Pill. It felt like Gen X and older people wrote a musical to be like, this is what the woke children will like.
Right.
And it was like, too much story.
I agree.
It was like, we got to make sure we have to check off every single box.
Right.
We have a black character. We have a drug character. We have a queer character. We have a trans, that mess.
That whole thing.
And like the music was fine, but it wasn't transformed enough.
Right. I agree.
And I thought that it also tried to be too clever by not being very smart, where it was like, her name is Mary Jane.
I agree. I think that's spot on. I don't know. And I guess not to compare everything to Rent, but Broadway singers singing Alanis Morissette are just Broadway singers singing Alanis Morissette. It's not like Rent where you had rock singers. And I think that's, for me, that was a big miss in a way.
Yeah. And she has if you're going to sing them the same way that the songs are written.
Yeah.
And no one has a distinctive voice.
Right.
Why are we doing this?
Right.
She has a very distinctive voice.
Yeah, exactly.
Change the orchestrations.
Change the orchestrations. And yeah, and to what you were saying, I didn't think it was like gritty enough.
No.
Like, Alanis Morissette, even though we kind of compared her to the grittiness of Fiona Apple, like that's still an angry gal (parentheses compliment) album. Like
yes,
I wanted to see rage, and I think maybe part of the you ought to know payoff in that musical was because that was the one moment where you got the unbridled rage.
That was the only moment I thought that worked.
Yeah.
And it also, because it felt like it was like not part of the show.
Right. It did feel separate from everything else.
Yeah. I was disappointed.
Yeah.
I feel like that was one of the shows that has implemented the policy in this household where my husband, who sees every musical, will now go and see things without me if I'm on the fence about it, so he can come back and tell me whether I will like it or not, because my threshold for bad theater is far lower than his.
Okay.
Like, I can still see things that whether I like it or dislike it, I can always have a critique. I can always like work it out. But if I'm sitting there and I'm not enjoying myself thoroughly, I'm not pleasant to sit next to.
Interesting.
I'm tense. I
did that during Bad Cinderella.
Hold up. Okay. We are Sad Binderella.
Sad Binderella.
My husband went and saw it and was like, go see it. You can get a cheap ticket. It's horrible. I was in the mezzanine. It was me and 10 other people.
That's wild.
But you know who killed in that musical?
Grace McLean.
Grace McLean.
Oh, man.
Give her more to do.
Give her the Alanis Morissette bio musical or any Alanis Morissette musical. Give her the Fiona Apple jukebox musical.
Oh, TM. Grace McLean as Fiona Apple.
I would take my money.
Yes.
Take my money.
But those two leads, with no chemistry, they could not act or sing or dance.
See, I had no problem with the performances.
But there's just no... I mean, the book was bad. The music was weird. I did like Sexy Grace McLean number.
That number was out of pocket.
That was amazing.
That number... I just remember, like, you know that meme that, Euphoria, that meme that's like, is that fucking play about us?
Yes.
I was just sitting there with my friend, I was just like, is this fucking number about her fucking her son?
Yes, that's what that number was about.
Yeah.
Yes, but it was also Gentlemen Prefer Blondes in the pool with all the gay people around her.
See, this is the musical theater history connections that I stay for.
Yes.
Like, that's theater. That's art right there.
And we brought it back to Fiona Apple because Grace McLean, if you're listening to this, get on it.
Get on it. You would be so good. Because she has that like gritty voice, then she has she's unhinged in the best way.
I will give the listeners, I'm sure you already know this, but I will give the listeners a music album recommendation on this music episode. Grace McLean's musical In the Green, fantastic.
Yeah.
There is a recording of it you can find, not like Slime Tutorial, but like an actual record. You can stream that album. It's all looped vocals. It's brilliant. It's about a anchoress. It's so weird, but it is gorgeous to listen to.
She's so fucking good.
I feel like I need to dive deeper into Fiona Apple. Like I
Please
like
do.
her and I've liked her, but I feel like this has like re-energized me to like I just switched from Spotify to YouTube Music.
Really?
Uh-huh.
I am only now discovering really what YouTube Music is.
YouTube Music. Hot tip. You can get, if you get YouTube Premium, which everyone always wants, but they're like, I can't justify it.
Right.
Dump your Spotify subscription. As I say on my Spotify podcast, dump that Spotify subscription. Get YouTube Premium. YouTube Music comes with it.
Right.
And then you also don't have ads on your YouTube videos.
Which, thank fucking Christ.
So you get this 2 for 1.
That's enough of an endorsement for me.
And there's no AI playlist.
And there's no AI.
No weird band that put out 5 albums in 2 days.
Oh my god, thank God. Yeah. Highly recommend diving back in. There are so many ways you can do it too. You could go from Tidal all the way through the current one. It's only 5 albums. They're about 10 tracks each, so it's not going to take you too long. And I mean, I'm just that kind of nerd that loves to see the progression of how one album leads to the other, leads to like influences the next. And or if you're just like, hey, I am angry at something right now, I'm going to put on an unhinged album that is just all throwing shit, and you just like fetch the bolt cutters from the top, and you're like, yep, that's it.
I love that idea. Thank you so much.
Happy to do it.
I've loved having you here. Anything you want to plug? How can the listeners find you?
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. First of all, I'm so happy to be here.
I truly met Ian at a project that we were doing, and I was like, I can tell this would be a fun person to bring on the show. So.
Thank you. I'm honored that you asked. Plugging stuff. You happen to catch me at a time where there's quite a bit going on, so you can find me on all the social medias at Brodsky. That's specifically Blue Sky, Instagram, and TikTok, and I guess Threads. Please listen to my new album, Friendly Neighborhood Something or Other. So look out for shows that I'm doing because I have other friends that are dropping music, and we're looking to do some shows together. And I host the Self-Indulgent Musical Podcast, aka Simp.
I feel like you told me the title, but didn't give me the acronym.
Oh, yeah?
Oh.
Did I tell you what the podcast before that was?
No.
So the same co-host, my friend Karina Stokes, and I, she had seen Glee 3 times. I had not, and I'm a theater professional, mind you. So we did a Glee recap podcast and called it Glee Aggressive.
Well, if you enjoyed this episode as much as I did, please rate, review, and subscribe. We love hearing from you. You know, what's your favorite Fiona Apple song, album? Who's your favorite angry girl rock star?
Yeah.
You can leave that review on Apple Podcasts, and you can, I think Spotify has stars. They don't, it's wild. It's wild. And tell your friends. I don't do any advertising, so it's all word of mouth. And you know what the great thing about this podcast is, there is a subject for anyone, and then you'll just get hooked by my melodic voice.
Exactly.
So, you come for Mothman, stay for Fiona Apple. So join us next time as we once again prove that my opinion is always correct about everything all the time.